No,
Maybe.
maybe. You look a little like Clint Eastwood. I'm talking to Pete. He's the cameraman, director, producer. And standing beside him, get Dave in the picture here. Dave O'Connor is going to take all this gibberish that I'm about to lay down, and he's actually going to put it into his computer and give it to you guys to watch. God knows why, but you're going to do that. Anyway, hey Pete, why don't we pan some of these pictures here of all these. What you're looking at now is a bunch of no frills, semi frills, and stuff that's all almost ready to go. It's just, we'll pick up holes that have to be done and put some oil on them and a little bit of sanding. They're pretty much ready to go. So all you people who are waiting on those, we're going to get them all going here very soon. They'll all be. Some of them are hanging up right up here already have oil on them. Back there too, Pete, there's a couple, right? Yeah. Yeah. And those are all, and you can see there's some fingerboards there in the works and a neck blank. And Pete was just getting a couple more. We're gonna do a video on this sometime too, how truss rods work and how we put them in, And this is the whole thing here. I won't get into too much detail on this, but whenever we'll do another video someday just on that. And we have a base down here we want to show you too. It's going to Italy, I think. But before we do that, and I know I've mentioned to you people on different videos and different writings about what we do here and how long it takes, and it does take long. And I know a lot of you people have been waiting a long time for instruments, and I am truly sorry about that. It is just what it is. This is not a factory here, and we, unlike other people who build instruments, they build them living in the 20th and 21st century. I basically lived in the 17th century. I mean, it's the truth. We are, okay, so we have a bandsaw, we have a drill press, and they didn't have those back then. Stradivari didn't have that, Guarneri didn't have that. But everything else about us, and by no means am I putting myself in the same class as a Stradivari or a Guarneri or a Amati or any of those people. But, we do. That's how we do it. We do it by hand. And things don't always go right. They really don't. I've had a lot of experience. Pete's had experience. The people here work real hard. But, sometimes we put the rod in, we put the fingerboard on, we put the neck on, put the strings on, and you find out that maybe that piece of wood wasn't quite what you thought it was. Now, I think I probably have enough experience to, look at a piece of wood and say, I think this is going to be cool, as opposed to, let's say, I bring up my niece every once in a while. Denise, I'm sorry. No disrespect to you. I love you, babe. But, she's not obviously a bass maker, so she would not have the same eye for this that I have. Or, a shoemaker or anybody else wouldn't have, Dave's wife is a surgeon, and she's very skilled at what she does, I'm sure, but she would not have the same eye for this piece of wood that I do. On the other hand, that doesn't mean I'm God. That doesn't mean that I know for sure. That means I just have a very educated guess. So sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to go. And then that adds time. And then, hey, people get sick from time to time, and, things get put aside. I'm not trying to make any excuses. I'm just saying that I appreciate, the people that are waiting. And believe me, when you get the instruments, and you will not get them unless I think they're ready. I think I said this before, I don't build these instruments for the people who ordered them. I don't even build them for myself. Maybe a little more of that than not. But my father was very, very critical of how things should be, and I think I learned that from him. So I build these for my father and Antonio Stradivari. And I mean that with all due respect to that man, because we all know he built, Class A violins and cellos. I would like to think that if Antonio Stradivari were walking the streets of New York or any city where he might see one of my basses, I would like him to, look at it and say, wow, hey, somebody's actually doing something here, that would make me feel good. So yeah, when I build these instruments, that's the eye that I have. And by no means I don't mean to put myself in the class of a Stradivari, but that's the way I think about it. I think in those terms, I shoot for that. Let's put it that way, okay? Anyway, that's about it on that. Like I said, we're going to talk about truss rods and how all that stuff works on another video. I just told Dave I was planning on possibly doing a video on some maintenance kind of things. I know I get people calling me up from time to time and say, got a little fret buzz on the 3rd fret or the 10th fret, the G string's buzzing or whatever. And yeah, should I send the bass back to you? Well, that would be quite an expense, and it really isn't necessary. So what we're going to do is a little video on how I look at situations like that, and that's going to be coming up pretty soon. And I also mentioned to Dave when he came in this morning that I'd like to do a video on maybe talking about a harmony and some ways that I look at things on the bass as far as playing is concerned, and how to get around chords and what actually happens, in the harmony world. I think that's it for that. I may be rambling now if I go any further. I might have been rambling anyway.